Slow and freeze enemies and refuse to elaborate with Frost. Frost was once the king of defense back in the day, and I personally think is still very good at what he does. You can get Frost by defeating Lieutenant Let Krill and Captain Vor on Exta Series, or from the week 3 rotation of the Deviri circuit, and his prime variance parts can be gotten from their respective relics. Frost's passive is that cold status effects last twice as long and give you 50 armor for each enemy that is affected with cold damage and affinity range. Freeze sends out a cold blast that deals cold damage to enemies hit by it, applying 6 stacks of cold to enemies in a 5-meter radius and freezing the enemy that was directly hit by it for 15 seconds. Ice Wave sends out a wave of ice that deals cold damage. Man, I wonder what Frost's main damage type is, and will apply 6 stacks of cold damage on them. If an enemy is frozen by the ability, they will be frozen for 10 seconds, and this ability has an angle cap of 60 degrees. Snow Globe will create an ice dome around you that scales with your armor and applies 10 stacks of cold damage to enemies that are hit by it when you first cast it, and will continue to slow and apply cold as they enter the globe. You and allies can shoot through it and will apply 3 stacks of cold damage to nearby enemies when it breaks. Avalanche instantly freezes nearby enemies for 8 seconds and reduces their armor by 60% in a 15-meter radius, and will shatter frozen enemies in a 4.5-meter radius. I think Frost can still be very good with the right setup, and I personally think you should try to take advantage of the cold status as much as possible, as enemies affected by cold take more crit damage, making him pair well with crit heavy weapons, and his augment biting Frost might as well be super glued to you if you decide to take this route with him. He can also still be rather tanky thanks to his augment Icy Avalanche, giving him some much needed overguard, and Frost also works well with arcanes like Arcane Ice Storm. This is the build I run on Frost, and let me know what you think about him.